Okay. We figured out why God made nuns, but it had a bad side. We found out that God was overall not even happy with most nuns ever. But the concept of a nun was a beautiful concept of God. God was looking for females. These females were supposed to learn not to be selfish or self-centered. So these nuns were supposed to go on a walk with God to learn to get rid of or tear apart the selfishness, the self-motivation, self-focus, to be built by God with God, to be like that greater magnitude of the ideology of God and Jesus, that being lack of self, except for what you truly do need for the love of yourself, gives you that focus on the good, pure walk of the better good tomorrow to the most you can build each day. And that is so romantic and hot and amazing. Because really, that is teaching a little tiny human how to be like Jesus and walk a very dedicated walk that only something like a Jesus and a God could walk. Where at some point you understand how to walk like a perfect giant that understands how much you are contributing to karma or tomorrows all the time. Because you have no more selfishness or self-focus. All you do is live for the reality like a robot of the greater power of God, power of Jesus, in the dedication to building the greatest perfection of good constantly. Because you've purged all the negatives that God and Jesus feel are negatives. Now we understand the nun concept, and apparently most of them did not. If they were in a resume, they wouldn't be hired, apparently. So they didn't make it very well, but it's a very romantic, very good concept that just never made it. Oh, well. It's a really good idea. Now, I like the Buddha. The Buddha did not bring sexuality to this area. The Buddha did not find that something that Buddha wanted to do. Now, the Buddha I knew and was my friend was never female, male, or anything else, and was known as the Great Buddha, and had no existence like that. But that Buddha did not bring sexuality to this planet. But that Buddha was a very beautiful sexual guider. And that Buddha would teach you sexuality power and the reality that true enlightenment of your existence comes from sexual power. So yeah, you could follow the nun concept. That was God's concept. You could find out what Jesus's concept was or is. And then there are different concepts to all spiritualities, religions, and more, such as Buddha would build your sexual strengths and powers until you became so sexual that you were like a weird energy and force in pure motivated sexual superiority. And Buddha, that same Buddha proved that the power of sexuality is one of the most invincible powers that exist. Why? People love sex. People love sex fixation and focus. So it's like teaching your sexuality and your soul to fly. And you'd be amazed how much you can get out of it all. And it's a really fun thing, like being a nun or something. In other planets, you join and belong to the main Buddha master. And you learn these things. Like a Japanese, Chinese wisdom master. You learn day to day from childhood how to be these weird sexual giants. the way China and Japan used to take children and teach them to be like wisdom, spirituality giants. It's fun to learn things. It's fun to remember things. And I'm not too good on religion. I don't really like religion. I like to just live through gods and what they originally wanted or built and why. Religion just gets so warped and is always full of so many things. But I had no idea about these nun things because I just hadn't ever gotten to it. Now that you dissect it, that's pretty cool. Because I don't really like the concept of some preacher having all the money. Nobody explained what that's all about. Maybe they just need the preacher so the nuns could go through everything to try to pass every test. Maybe they just need the preacher to pay the bills and exist so the nun could be in a place to learn absolute lack of spoiled or selfish. Or that would make sense. I mean, it is a great concept if people could walk that walk, but I don't know. I don't know if this planet's really made for that much selflessness. I don't know if this planet is really a complete selfless. I don't know if their DNA could bond with complete selflessness. I think the DNA of this planet mandates a certain amount of love of self. I noticed that throughout history. That might be why it never really brought a good percentage for this nun outcome. Should finish this meeting of the gods, see if they want to talk to God and Jesus about that. Maybe revamp some of this stuff for fun since we're all here and just see if anything gets up and flies.